Hi and welcome or welcome back. My name is Tita and you are watching my bi-weekly knitting podcast. If you're new here, I'm a knitter, knitwear designer, and the owner of the yarn shop Yarn for All. And this is basically my currently bi-weekly, sometimes weekly knitting podcast where I share a lot about what I'm knitting. That includes patterns and designs from other designers that I'm knitting. Also includes my own designs, and I also share some of my thoughts that occur to me about knitting and whatnot. And I also share my acquisitions for that week or 2 weeks period. And today I will have one finished object, which is apparently a rare occurrence on my knitting podcast. I also have two whips in progress that you have seen last week, or actually 2 weeks ago when I last filmed. And I also have two new cast-ons. So I will begin with my finished object, which is my mesh sweater by paulastrickt. I am actually not wearing that sweater. It is a pretty warm piece, but I actually will insert probably right here a footage of me sort of wearing it and showing you this sweater a little bit later. Right now I am just wearing one of my Pi Camisoles in this beautiful sort of cinnamon brown color. Since it's really nice and warm already in Connecticut, my mesh sweater would be a little bit warm. However, this sweater is really beautiful. I think it's gonna be perfect for colder evenings in the summer, or like a beach cover up for the end of the day when the sun goes down. So I will have a lot of wear of it even in the summer, and if I wear something underneath even later on, but right now it was just way too warm to wear it, and it would be a little bit weird to kind of stand up. It's very noisy, so I would just rather insert a footage of me wearing it, but here it is. So as I mentioned, this is the mesh sweater by paulastrickt. As you can see, this is a sort of lacy whatever large eyelid pattern, and I used one of the recommended yarns, which is Camisole wool vegan cashmere. I used the colorway smoky blue, which is colorway 16. I always say, but if you're new here, blue is actually my favorite color, and right now I am really into these sort of gray toned colors. And gray tone blue is perfect. So this is a gray tone blue with a little bit of green. I don't know how well it comes out on my camera. And so the sweater is a top-down design with a very simple repeat that you can very quickly figure out. You start right here with the back panel. I really love these little details right here. That is basically where you start and later on pick up from. But I really like it. It's a really sort of simplified design. As you can see, like everything is just the lace, and you see this little motif that's at the back right here at the sleeve and running down straight on the side of it. So otherwise it's just the same lace repeat, and you really, as I said, can learn this pattern very quickly. The pattern was very simple. So as I said, you start at the back, you finish the back panel, then you pick up stitches, do the front panel, and once you reach the desired length, I follow the pattern on this one, then you sort of join in around and just knit the body in around, and then after you're done with the body, you finish off with a 1x1 lace and an Italian bind off, which I kind of like to do a little bit tighter. I don't like when my one by one rib gets like very loose and flares up. So I rather finish them a little tight, and I know by time it will be actually a little bit looser. So I think right now it seems tight, and you will see in the video it's a little bit tight because I haven't blocked that area yet. But I think with time it will just stretch out exactly perfectly. I think that was my first time doing Italian bind off, if I remember correctly. So I did the setup rows, and I think it came out really nice. I think it's a very nice and neat finish. And as I said, I haven't bought my full garment, but if you have seen my previous video, I actually finished the sleeves first time around until my watch, and the length exactly until the point I thought I might need to start ribbing. As I said, I knitted it to the desired length, but I still double checked after blocking how much it grows. The yarn and the whole sort of sweater was to grow about 4 or 5 centimeters in length and 3 or 4 in the length of the sleeves, and 4 or 5 in the length of the body. Mine grew a tiny bit less, but I am a super tight knitter. So I am actually off gauge in this project. My gauge is a little tight, so my sweater is actually a little tighter than the size 2 that I was knitting supposed to look like. So if you will see the photos that I insert about myself as opposed to how the pattern looks like on the models, mine is a tiny bit tighter. But I actually didn't want so much of an oversized fit of I think it was like 10 centimeters. I don't necessarily like that much for this design. I don't know, I just didn't want it. So I was completely okay after gauge swatching and knowing that my sweater gonna be a little bit tighter. I still knitted size 2. And as I said, it was a very straightforward, easy process. I knitted it until basically my watch and my desired length before the hem needed to be done, and I blocked my sweater, and after blocking I tried it on, decided how much do I want to add to the sleeves before adding the, I think, 3.5 or so centimeter of cuff, and whether or not I like the length of the sweater before I add the 1 by 1 rib after the setup row. And after blocking, I found that the length is actually perfect, so I just went ahead and did the 1 by 1 rib and the Italian bind off. So I haven't blocked just this little area. And on my sleeve, I found the sleeves to be too short even after blocking. So originally I wanted to add about 4 repeats of this lace design, but I knew I am running low on yarn, and this yarn is available at my shop, but from this color I only had 9 sort of donut balls, and technically my size of this pattern, which was the second size, called for 10. However, I knew I'm a tight knitter, so usually designers add a little bit of extra yarn when they determine how much yarn you really need. So I was like, I probably get away with 9. However, I was like, when I was knitting the sleeves, so what I did first, I knew I'm running low on yarn. I finished the bottom hem. I tried on the sweater. I was like, okay, I'm really happy with the length, so no worries on the length. And as I said, the arm or the sleeves were reaching already until my watch. So as you see, I mean, my watch sits pretty low, so if you add a 3.5 centimeter of cuff, you would be still fine. And as you wear the sweater, it has some weight, so it actually pulls a little bit more. But I really wanted a little bit longer length. I was preferring until my knuckles, but that would have required 4 repeats, and then the, so I'm sorry, 4 repeats of this, and then the cuff. But after measuring my yarn and seeing how much one of these lace repeats takes, I knew that I'm not gonna make it to 4. So I decided that I'm gonna add 2, which will take the sweater right until my wrist, and then I add the 3.5 centimeter of cuff, and it's still like longer and kind of like goes around my hand. So that's what I did, and this is how much yarn I have left. I haven't measured it, but I will measure and insert it right here. What is this in grams? This is what I have from a 50 ball, my last 50 gram ball. So I really was close not to have enough yarn, although the sleeves were actually longer than the pattern called for. Already. However, as I said, I'm a tight knitter, so this is a drop shoulder, so my shoulders didn't come down that much as any other people's. So if I knitted the sleeve just the length of the pattern, then it would be still too short for me because I don't have enough drop from my shoulder. So since I have a little bit less on a drop on the shoulder, I knitted the sleeve a little bit longer, and I think right now with this length I'm exactly around the same length of the sleeve, same drop of the sleeve as the designer intended, but by having less here and more length on the sleeve, if that makes sense. And as I said, I love the pattern, absolutely love the color, and I absolutely love the fit, even though, as I said, this is tighter than the original pattern intended. But I love it. I think the pattern is really beautiful and simple. I mean, you see this like pearl setup row comes really beautifully around the neck, and you have the same at the hem and the cuff. So it's like really neatly made yet simple, and I really loved it. I waved in my ends and everything as well. And if you have seen my first video when I talk about this, the only thing I had issue with, and that's nothing to do with the pattern, it just have to do with me, that I knit combination knitting. So if you know what that is that some of your stitches are actually twisted the other way than if you knit like regular not combination knitting. So the pattern calls you to slip knit or just knit two together, but since some of my stitches are twisted, some of them I didn't have to slip, and the ones I supposed to knit I had to slip, so it was almost the other way around. But I quickly realized that at the beginning I didn't notice, and I was like, my stitches are twisted when I am sort of doing the lace pattern, and then I just learned to sort of follow a pattern in a way that I don't twist my stitches. So if it was a slip, but if I had I slipped my stitches, those would have been twisted, then I just didn't slip, just knit it together, and so on. So basically I went for not to twist your stitches, but do knit togethers that way, and that actually worked out just fine. So that's actually nothing to do with the pattern. It's just for those of you who are also doing combination knitting, we do have to think about that. So as I said, first finished object in a very long time, and I love it. Absolutely love the color. I think it suits me well. And it's like subtle, you know, it's blue, but like really, beautiful blue. Camisole did an amazing job. Actually, vegan cashmere yarn has really amazing colors, like colors that you don't really find in any of their other yarns as of now. Probably one of my favorite colors right now are among the vegan cashmere yarns that Camisole actually made. All of them, this subtle, very interesting colors that you rarely find, I say. Knitting for Olive has amazing colors, but I think Camisole in the vegan cashmere did an amazing job. The downside of it is that they don't have so many colors. I don't know, maybe like 20 something. So they could improve on the number of colors, but absolutely beautiful job. Very happy with the finished object. Very happy with the pattern. I can only strongly recommend. I bought it on Etsy. I am not sure whether she sells them. I think, yeah, it was like $5 plus tax, so it's actually very affordable. Clearly written and was available in German and English. I obviously did English. Absolutely happy. I'm very happy to have this sweater done. So I will show you next my other whip that was already a whip last week, a very small whip at that time. The next one is, and now I worked on it a little, not as much as I wanted, but I will show you why. this piece is probably, as I said in my previous episode, everyone knows this one. This is looking very teeny tiny, but it is actually size 2, and I'm on gauge. This is Camisole number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I'm gonna try to make this visible. Okay, so this is the front. I know it looks very small, but when you stretch it out, it actually does fit. And this is the back. So as you can see, I just recently joined in a round, and I did like maybe about 10 rows or so after joining in a round. And I actually joined my strap together as well. And this idea came to my head as I was doing a podcast maybe like 4 weeks ago or so, and I was wearing one of my Pi Camisoles that was like a ribbed camisole with a beautiful edging here and at the neckline, and somehow it hit my head that it is very similar to Camisole number 9, my favorite things knitwear, and I should knit that piece. I have seen it in many podcasts, and I really loved the final finished objects. So I decided to order one of the suggested yarns because I do not have any silk yarn at my shop currently. I will soon update and will have some by next spring, but not right now. So I ended up ordering, as you saw my last video, Knitting for Olive pure silk in 3 different colors. I am working up soft blue for myself, and I ordered wheat and potty for my cousin and my sister. I am actually knitting 3 of these after each other so we can all match. We all picked our favorite colors from the Knitting from Olive website, and I'm knitting mine up first to see, if I make any mistakes, let me make it on mine. And I'm not really expecting myself making mistakes and whatnot. It's just like I'm experimenting on mine, and it will be much easier and much more perfect if I do this in the second and third time. I heard that some people complain that it takes a long time to do the neckline and the way the armhole is made by adding that little sort of ribbing or not ribbing, sort of edging section. The way it worked is supposedly pretty laborsome and rather difficult, so I want to make sure that I kind of learn to make it perfect on mine, so my cousins and my sisters are gonna be even nicer. So since it is still summer, and I want them the opportunity to be able to wear the shirt that I'm making. So I am hoping to finish this in the next 2 weeks. So this should be a finished object for my next podcast in about 2 weeks. And by that time I should have a new cast on of the very same camisole in a different colorway, which might not be so much fun for you to watch, but sorry, I am working on 3 and I will show you briefly them. About the camisole, the pattern is really simple. Works with starting, I think, the front and then the back, and then joining in around, and from here it's literally, I think, no shaping until you get to the bottom. So now I'm just literally knitting in around, so it's a very mindless knitting after the increases that you need to do when you do the front panel, and the increases you need to do while you're doing your back panel. The only thing, I mean, I literally didn't read the pattern like back and forth, but I couldn't find a part where you actually attach your back strap to the front strap, which was weird. So I went to Ravelry, and I didn't want to search forever, but I was like, okay, let me see what other people did. How did they attach the back and the front? There are, a couple ways to do it, but like you literally cast this on, so you have like a cast on sort of edge, like 4 cast on edges on both sides, 2 and 2, to sort of bind together. So I decided to I wish I had done maybe a provisional cast on, and then I could just Kitchener stitch the stitches, so I wouldn't have this like tiny little cut. I don't know how much it's going to do, but it's just that tiny little like cut where I am joining them. I don't really like that. If I could avoid, I might think of something for the second and the third to do. It doesn't really bother me, but what I found weird was that you see, like when I'm holding my camisole up, that edge is actually not in the middle, which what I would expect exactly to be on the top, like right here. It seems to fall more like somewhere on the bottom. So I tried to see the pictures of other people, where are theirs, and I was like, I went back to the pattern, did I do something wrong or didn't I? But I didn't do anything wrong, and I think that's just how the camisole is actually designed, for the straps to meet like sort of right below, right around your neckline, and then go over, rather than, so instead of here you meet somewhere in here, which is I think a strange construction. I haven't met that. Normally if you have a back strap and a front strap, you kind of start here and go down and go up, but like, okay. So if I missed something and you have done camisole number 9, just comment me in the comment section. It was just an odd thing. So if I missed something, then please let me know before I cast on my second and the third. I mean, otherwise I just did that, and I think it looks just fine, but it could have been neater. I don't know. I don't know if it could have been neater, but yes, so that's my only thing with the pattern, that I couldn't see where did they do that. Where did they explain, oh, join the net, join the sort of straps together this and this way, which is whatever, I figured it out. So yep, you basically work your increases, cast on additional stitches, and then reach the desired line, cast on additional stitches, and then you're just knitting around. Then, as I said, this is a very simple process. I kind of forgot what am I knitting this on, but I'm gonna put this up right here. Probably 2.75. I think I went down a needle size a tiny bit. So I think I'm knitting this on a 2.75 millimeter knitting needle in this beautiful soft blue color that I originally thought gonna be more blue, but it is like a very gray with a tiny hint of blue. So as you see, this is blue green gray. Well, this comes off very gray compared to that one, but it has a hint of blue. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm very happy with the camisole. I think pretty soon I am going to put up the neck band, because as I said, it's laborsome, and then I will still have the armholes to do. So I think I'm gonna stop in very soon, put the neckband up, try this on to make sure that I'm on the right track and I love everything and it's not too tight. Although I chose the size based on recommended sizes, it has a lot of negative ease, and I'm exactly clearly one of the sizes. I am at the second size. So I don't think anything should be problematic size-wise. Everybody loves the fit. When I read some of the reviews, so I think there should be no problem, but I don't want to have the neckband and the arm bands or armhole bands at the very end, especially if those are like the troublesome and paying attention parts. So I'd rather do probably the neckband, finish them, and then do the armbands. But I think all should be done and blocked and ready to wear by my next podcast. But this is where we are. Very tiny, as you can see, but I promise it does stretch, and then you still have to, you see, like it stretches already as much as my camisole right now, and I still have to add the armband, which is I think a 2.5 centimeter length before you fold it back. I mean, no, sorry, after you fold it back. So yes, I am very happy. The pattern, other than how you attach this or when, which you figure out anyways, but that was just weird. The pattern is very well written, aside from I couldn't find this part, but as I said, I just sort of glanced or like ran through the pattern, so it might be just there and I just missed it. But please comment on it if you have figured out a better way to do this. I know many of you knitted this. Is there a better way to do it, like a provisional cast on, and then you can Kitchener stitch those stitches? Yeah, what did you guys do other than just sort of stitch it together at the end on the cast on stitches? Okay, so this was my second work in progress last time, and I had a third work in progress, which is much less interesting, so I'm just gonna quickly show you that, and then I will show you my two new cast-ons. My next work in progress that got a lot of job done, or a lot of time, is a blanket that I'm knitting as a gift knit, and it is using Drops brushed alpaca silk in colorway 21, which is sage green, and colorway 35, which is I think pearl gray. Absolutely beautiful. I'm holding this double. I am knitting this blanket as a gift. It is a 50 inches by 60 inches blanket using seed stitch. I like seed stitch because it doesn't stretch that much as like garter stitch. Easy to knit, and I think it gives you a very beautiful texture, which I will show you. I didn't wave in my edges yet, but I am actually gonna wave in some of my ends as we go. So I'm sorry, as you saw, I was actually interrupted, which never really happens during my videos. So I don't exactly know where I left off or how am I gonna cut these pieces together. But I think I was somewhere around talking about using Drops brushed alpaca silk in colorway 21 and 35, sage green and pearl gray, and that I am holding this double and I am using a seed stitch design because I like the way the seed stitch actually looks like. Let me show you where. So I don't want the stitches to unravel. I have like I'm always forgetting, but I think 300 stitches. Yes, 300 stitches on the needle, 75 of the gray and 225 on the sage green. But if you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. And this is the back of it. Like you can see where I am like switching the yarn. I think seed stitch gives you a beautiful texture. And the yarn comes out really nice holding it double. This is actually the third blanket, exactly the same type of blanket that I'm making using this yarn. This is the only one where I ordered enough yarn from the same dye lot, so this not to be stripy. All my other two ones I'm using brushed alpaca silk from Drops, but I found that they have a great variation between dye lots. So I have like a bit stripier blankets than I wanted, which is like an interesting design, but now I learned my lesson for the fourth one and this will be perfect because it's the same dye lot. However, I underestimated the number I need. I originally thought I need 9 and 27, but after working up 8 inches, I knew that I'm making about 2 inches of the sage green one with 2 balls of yarn, sorry, 4 inches using 2 balls. So I figured out that I will need exactly 30 to reach 60 inches, and therefore I also need 10 exactly from the gray. And originally I ordered 10 of the gray and 27 of this, so I went back to the same company where I ordered it from. I quickly put in an order and I asked the owner to send me the same dye lot. Luckily she did, and I think it's gonna get delivered today, so it will be a acquisition for next week. I will just show you quickly that yes, the yarn arrived and yes, it's the same dye lot. So as I don't know if I mentioned before I got interrupted, but brushed alpaca silk, I love the yarn. I do believe it is 100% wool. Let's see if I can find it. No, I'm sorry, it is alpaca silk, sorry. It is 77% alpaca and 23% silk. It's not itchy, but you kind of can sometimes feel that you have that, so I don't necessarily like this against my skin that way, but my skin is not actually sensitive. My other problem, rather my actually only problem with the yarn was that it felt a little bit as you wash it. So it is actually absolutely perfect for the blanket. it becomes more like one piece, if you know what I mean. Like it's, you can still see the seed stitches, but like it just like gets like, I don't know, put together a little bit more, literally felted, which I really love the look of. And as I mentioned before, this is a 60-inch blanket, so my plan with it was to knit every day 1 inch for 60 days. So if you see my tiny little stitch marker, that's where we were last week when I filmed on Monday. Normally I film on Mondays, sometimes on Sundays. Last week I filmed on, 2 weeks ago, I filmed on Monday. And I put a stitch marker there. At that time I had 4 inches done, so it's exactly 2 weeks ago, and at that time the Monday stitches were not on, so this was right 4 inches before Monday. So by next Monday, if you don't count Monday just yet, I should have added 14 more inches, so I should have a total of 18 inches plus 1 more today when I get to it. But what happened, somehow I added an extra inch, and I don't exactly know when. Sometimes I do work ahead. If there's a day, right now it's Euro Cup, so there is a lot of soccer on TV, so I knit a lot during soccer because this is relatively mindless. I don't really have to look to do this. I just look at the beginning of the round to remember what do I start with, a purl or a knit, and then I just go from there and I don't have to look. So this is a perfect soccer knitting for me, and also Copa America, so a lot of soccer knitting. So sometimes I work sort of ahead for next day, and I don't know how, but I added an extra inch. So instead of 18 inches, now we have 19 inches, which is fine. I'm just gonna move this little stitch marker to 19 inches, and we should have another 14 inches added to this by 2 weeks from today, or 15 if I do the Monday work that day already when I film, depends on the time of the day. So we are on absolute progress with this. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't really want to stretch it out, but like it's really 50 inches. I'm gonna measure it for next time, but yep, and 19 inches this way. It's gonna be a really beautiful warm blanket, and also I think very modern with this like design of a little bit of this color and a lot of that color. I already made up my mind that I'm doing also 2 matching pillows, which is the first time I'm ever adding pillows to these blanket designs. And I ordered the yarn for that. I ordered the yarn for that already. The company I originally ordered this from did not have enough of the same dye lot to order for the pillows as well. I ordered 10 of each colors because I want one mainly gray with a little bit of sage green, and one mainly sage green with a little bit of gray, just like this. So 3/4 gray on one, 1/4 green, and 3/4 green and 1/4 gray on the other one. So it's kind of like matching but not perfectly matching, which I kind of like. I don't like perfectly symmetric things. I decided to order the same size pillow. Originally I wanted one bigger, one smaller, but the person I'm gifting might not appreciate so much asymmetry, so I am doing it that way, that the pillows are exactly 18 inches. And I will talk about this a little bit later, but when you make pillowcases from anything sewing or yarn, you need to make sure that you make it smaller than the actual pillow so it fits nicely and tightly. So the pillows I ordered are 18 inches, and I think I'm gonna go with a 17 inch pillowcase. I'm still deciding how I knit it, but soon I'm gonna start that as well. So that might be a new cast on for next week, where we briefly touch upon this giant blanket that will be on my needles for a while longer, since it is a 60-day project. Now it's a 59-day project that I somehow, I don't know, somehow I added an extra inch, but so it will be a while, but I will show you. The sage green color that I ordered might be a different dye lot. I actually didn't ask, but since those are the pillows, it's not so visible, even if it's a slightly lighter dye lot. And the gray color, I'm not expecting that much of a difference. Same thing happened with my sister's blanket. Hers I knitted in pink and I think pearl gray, and you can't really see the variation on the gray, but you can see the variation on the green. So I don't really expect much variation on the gray, but on the green. But compared to, like, the pillow is gonna be one dye lot of green and gray, and the blanket one dye lot of green and gray, I think that's okay. If I'm lucky, then the dye lots match. If I'm not lucky, they don't match, but it doesn't matter. The pillow and the blankets, it can be a different dye lot. I'm perfectly okay with that. And I have 2 new cast-ons, for which I'm gonna pop my iPad out because I actually don't know the details. So we're gonna start with the sweater. This is actually my earlier cast on. This is not that much, and actually it has 2 versions, and I'll show you why I have 2 versions. I ended up buying the twisted loop sweater by Other Loops, and this is a top-down construction, and I have very teeny tiny of it done. Knitted right now on a 3.5 millimeter knitting needle, using Filder yarn. I'm using Filder Fil Merino 3.5 and Filder Mohair Soya yarn held double. So I saw podcasters make this twist loop short sleeve top, and that I didn't like that much. It was too much detail for me in the front without having a sleeve. And then I saw this twisted loop sweater, and I thought that is actually beautiful. The neckline is not my favorite. I found the neck a little bit too sort of wide. So I'm gonna finish my neckband, see how much I like it when I try it on, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna redo it, casting on less stitches and then adding more stitches right after I'm done. I will see if it's manageable with the pattern. That's the only part I don't like in the pattern photos, that the neck is somehow here. I kind of like a tighter fitted neck. So I'm not too much ahead of that. I'm gonna do the neckband, fold it back. Let's see how I like it. If I don't like it, less stitches. And so far it's absolutely very straightforward. You knit the neckband, then you fold back, knit it together, and then go on with the pattern. I really like the way this front loop is worked and how the sleeve is actually designed. Like, the whole thing falls really nicely. And as I said, I'm using Filder Fil Merino, which is available in my shop, and also Filder Fil Mohair Soya in I cannot pronounce this Poudre color. I'm putting it up here, and then both are that same colorway. And I think since both are the same colorway, they make this beautiful beautiful color in the end. The pattern originally calls for a merino silk held with cotton together, or a merino wool, or a Shetland wool, a silk, and a cotton held together. So it's 3 strands held together, which is not my favorite thing. It's easier to like drop one sort of strand. But I thought, I don't want to hold silk with this. I think I'm okay with mohair. So I decided to hold a mohair double instead of a silk and cotton, or instead of the silk and cotton. Sorry, it actually calls for 70% mohair, 30% silk, which is actually what I have. Now I can't even read a pattern. So yes, I do have a silk mohair with the same content, but instead of the wool cotton blend, that is the third thread, I actually have a other mohair and silk in this beautiful color. So I think technically this is supposed to be pink, variation of pink, but I'm pretty sure it comes out as peach. So it's a peachy pink, I would say. And what I did first, I used this combination. I used this combination, and this is again Filder Fil Merino in Bouvard color, which is a much darker pink, and Filder Fil Mohair Soya Lurex in rosy color. And the Lurex is the mohair silk combo with a little bit of gold, and the merino is just a merino. And I found it very nice when I hold it together like this. But when I got this, I didn't unravel, just so you can see. So it didn't come out so blended and beautiful because, as I said, one is rosy and the other one is bouvard, so it's not actually the same colorway, which is perfectly fine if you like a bit more marled effect. But right now I'm not into this very marled look. And if the merino was rosy or the mohair was bouvard, I think I would have loved it a lot more either way, because these are both beautiful pink colors. But somehow I found this combination a little bit more suiting, less marled. You can still see the marledness in this beautiful other pink, which is definitely looking very peachy right now next to the pink. But yes, so I liked it better, the new version, so I decided to go with that. From this, I'm gonna make a hat for my sister for the winter. So the yarn is not going to waste, but I'm not gonna go through with it when I know already that I have some reservation about how the color combo looks, and I have absolutely no reservations about this. Is absolutely beautiful. So I'm looking forward knitting this. I'm gonna make progress on it because eventually you're gonna knit this on a 4.5. So this will be flying off my needles really quickly instead of this. So all I can suggest you all is that once you start it and you know you don't like it, you probably are not gonna like it. So just don't go through with it. Like, use the yarn for something else. And I am so glad I did, because this is absolutely beautiful. It's exactly in my wheelhouse, even though I'm in my green and blue phase. This is absolutely perfect, and it's actually gonna be for the fall. So by the time I'm gonna be done, it's not a fall color, obviously, but peach is kind of in anyways. And this is a peachy pink, and I'm super happy with it. I don't really wear this color too often. I don't know how much, I don't even think I have anything along these lines. Very interesting addition to my wardrobe. And my last cast on of the day is something that I just recently saw. Sorry, I have to get my iPad because I don't remember who made this camisole. It is the Pi Camisole by Creadia Studio. I'm gonna put it up because I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And before I forget, sorry, on the other loop sweater I'm doing size 2, which you cannot tell because you begin size 2 and 3, 1, 2, and 3, maybe the same cast on amount of cast on, and then you can decide what size you knit. So anyways, I'm on size 2 on this. Sorry, so this is the Pi Camisole done by Creadia Studio, and I saw this camisole actually in a podcast of Hip Knit Hooray. Most recently, she was wearing it in a black, and when I saw it, I was like, wow, that camisole looks really interesting and very neat. I kind of like the finish of it on the top, so I was like, okay, I have the yarn probably in my shop. I have a lot of yarn, so let me see if I can knit another camisole, which would be really nice for the summer, since I don't have any summer knit at all, like zero. The Camisole No. 9 gonna be the first one, and this Pi Camisole gonna be the second one. And I am also knitting size extra small, which is the second size of that. It comes with 5 to 10 centimeter negative ease, or 2 to 4 inches of negative ease. And the recommended yarn was Easy Care by Mayflower, which I had no idea what it was. What kind of yarn is it? But I went with a merino that I found in my shop, and to your surprise, it's gonna be greenish blue. This is more like green. It's the Amanda colorway by Philadelphia Merino 3.5. It is a beautiful merino. It's a tiny bit stretchy, if you can see. So I guess you can expect some growth. So I'm knitting size 2, which is exactly my size. I feel this is a beautiful green-blue colorway, but again, obviously the Creme Castle wool smoky blue, and Amanda from Philadelphia Merino, which is still available in my shop in this color and many other colors. First time knitting a garment with it. I tried the yarn when I ordered it for my shop, and I loved it. So I decided to go with that, and then I gauge swatched it. I was right on gauge with it, so I thought that's gonna be easy. I think I'm gonna need, based on the yarn recommendations, 3 or 4 balls, because the Easy Care Mayflower is 185 meters, and actually this one is 130, so I'm actually gonna need more. So I might need 4 or 5, depending on how tight I knit. Not a lot of yarn usage for a very beautiful camisole. And I literally just did the cast on in the morning, because I did not have a more 2.5 millimeter knitting needle that the pattern requested. I have them all of them on in use on many of my own design projects. So I had to order from Amazon, which is an acquisition, if you will, and it just got here last night. So I just did the cast on this morning, and I am literally just at the back piece. Again, it's gonna be just like the mesh sweater by Paulastrickt. You basically start with a trapezoid, as you can actually probably guess, trapezoid at the back and the front. Then so you start with a cast on, you're increasing, and then you go down, joining around. I guess cast on extra stitches probably, with joining in around, and then you just knit straight down. And this is all I have, literally the first couple of increases. I really love how the stitches look like. I love the color. So far the pattern is straightforward, obviously, because I only got to like 10 rows. But Hip Knit Hurry said only good things about the camisole, so I was like, I can do this. And I have the yarn, and I have a beautiful green blue, which is my face, and I am acknowledging that. So I am looking forward working on this. It is actually, although on a 2.5 millimeter knitting needle, I don't have a problem with working such a small gauge or tight gauge. I don't care. I love how the stitches look like, and I am just happy to see this grow for next week. So this is the Pi Camisole, and the last thing for today is actually an acquisition. Recently, maybe a couple weeks ago, I was watching Fruity Knitting, which, if you don't know, a monthly knitting podcast, and they put a lot of work in interviewing designers. It's not like necessarily a traditional knitting podcast. It is a traditional knitting podcast in a sense that they have a lot of knitting that they show, but they always have some sort of interviews with designers, or they go to yarn festivals or whatnot. So they have different segments as well. And in the last one, they had, now I forgot her name, but she is the Valiant Tailoress. She has the Valiant, oh, here it is, Melanie Charlet. Got it. Melanie Charlet. I'm gonna put her name up here because I don't necessarily think her last name is pronounced this way. And she has the website, thevalianttailoress.com, and she was interviewed in the most recent Fruity Knitting podcast, and she was showing the technique of smocking, which I am not familiar with, and I really loved the effect of smocking. If you don't know what that is, or if you want to see it, I think it's the most recent Fruity Knitting podcast. She talks in detail and about it, and also one of the hosts shows you a petite knit pattern with a little bit of smocking added, and it came out absolutely gorgeous. So that gave me an idea that I was looking for something very specific, something new yet simple for my designs for the fall, and I was like, okay, I think a smocking technique would be amazing if I can incorporate, but I just wanted to have some ideas, so I ordered their smocking catalog. I can't really open this because that would give too much away, but one second. Let me see if I can show you something, what smocking actually does other than the front, as you saw. Here you go. Here's another smocking piece. Absolutely beautiful. So I am always really happy to learn new techniques. So I was very happy for this brochure. So I ordered a smocking brochure, and along the smocking brochure I ordered their very heavy sort of catalog. And the catalog has a bunch of things: sewing, knitting, crochet, all in ones. And when you open this up, I don't want it to fall, but if you open this up, you will see the booklet and the sewing pattern sort of blueprints. So I was very happy when I was watching their sort of interview. They showed this beautiful, really heavy book, and I decided to order. I wanted to see the patterns, but also the books have lots of stories about different things, and I just thought yarn dyers and so on, and I thought I will order that to support the company. I really love the smocking. That's something I ordered because I really wanted to learn the technique. This one I ordered not to make necessarily a design, but to read what's in it, and also just to show my support. And it was shipped fairly quickly. She, I think, got an overwhelmingly large amount of orders after the Fruity Knitting podcast. So it took a little while to get to me, but not bothersomely a while. It's coming from Europe, so it was actually fairly fast. So I'm super happy. And I also noticed, if you're interested, some of these are out of print now, but now they added up to their website a PDF version of all of, I think, the smocking thing, the booklet, smocking booklet. And I'm not so sure about the other one, but so if you don't want to wait and don't want to pay for shipping, you actually can have this as an instant download if you are interested to learn the technique. I don't know, I think it comes out to $16 or $17, but I think it's worth it if you are interested to learn something new. And if you really want to know how these things look like, as I said, watch Fruity Knitting, because she does a really cool job with one of the Petite Knits designs that I think it's a little too simple, but the way she makes it is absolutely amazing. So here's another one. I think it's just so cool. So I'm looking forward learning smocking and see how I want to incorporate that into my next designs. And I guess this is it for today. And if you can hear, my cat is meowing in the background, which I won't be able to cut out. So the cat stays in this video, one of my cats. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in about 2 weeks with hopefully one finished object, a lot of new progress on my other loops sweater and my Pi Camisole, definitely on my blanket, 14 inches, and most likely a new cast on, but Camisole No.9 in a different color, probably the color for my sister, which is Potty. Thank you, and I see you in 2 weeks.